So here is our fabric. It's already on fold, okay, and I already have a line right here. This is just to level the fabric to guide me, so my measurements will start from this line. It's on fold, okay. So we are going to start right away, and okay, so the measurements I'll be working with are right here with me, and so we are just going to start. Now I'll measure 2 inches at this point. I'll mark 2 inches at this point. This 2 inch is for seam allowance. It will help you during the hemming, when you will be doing the hemming. Okay, so we are having this line right here, and so because I was working with the full measurement of 28, I'm going to mark my 28 up here. My 28 inches is somewhere up here, okay. I know you cannot see it clearly, so I'll make sure you see it. Right, up to that point, I know you will now be able to see. Make sure your fabric is very straight so that you don't mess up. Okay, now from the line where I marked, I'm now moving up and get my 28 inches. I'm having 28 here. Now that I have my 28, this is 28 inches, okay. I will not draw the straight line first. Let's just have 28 inches, mark it here, and then we are now marking our measurements, and from here to shoulder, I'm having 8.5. To chest, I mean, I'm marking 8.5, all right. 8.5 is here, and then to stomach. For men, it's stomach, not waist, okay. So I'll be having 16.5 inches. Mark your 16.5, all right, and then the full length is 28, somewhere here. So we are now moving again. You see, we marked from this part up here to this part where we have our 8.5, right? And because we are making a fitting coat for men, we are now going to mark 7. We are moving up, like from this point of 8.5 up here to 7 inches, okay, because we are now looking for the back, right? And men, they are a bit broad at the bust, not bust actually, at the chest, right? So this is the back. We are marking this point as at 7, right? So after that, now we are looking for that shoulder rise, you know. So we are going to have half an inch. We are going to mark an half an inch. Remember this point, right, where your till 28 ended. add half an inch up here, right? Just add half an inch. Okay, so you will avoid this line. Definitely you are going to avoid this line, right? So we are marking half an inch up here, and then have your lines. Now we are going to make the straight lines. And now this is what we are having. Okay, now we want to look for the shoulder rise. This actually will serve as a back neckline. I hope we are together up to this point. So now we are looking for that shoulder rise for men, right? So we are going to move down with a 1.5 inch. Mark your 1.5 inch somewhere here, and then draw a line. Just make sure it's straight, you don't mess up. Okay, so many lines, but I hope we are good. I hope we are getting it. So up to this point, now what we are going to do, we are going to give it that nice curve at the back, okay, for it to appear fitting. So we are going to start from down right here. Make sure it's straight. So to have that, we are going to mark 2 inch inward. Okay, same 2 inch inward, and then now we are moving. I'm just making sure it's straight, okay, so that I don't end up messing up, right? So after getting that, remember we marked 2 inch at the waist, and now we are going to have half an inch here. Okay, mark a half an inch right here on this line that we drew to serve as a shoulder, right? That's a half an inch. Now what we are now going to do next is to have your curve ruler. This is what I'm having to shape these lines. Okay, meet the line from the where the full length ended up to the waist, right? And then like this to this point. Okay, Just shape it nicely. Okay, now that's what we are having. To this point, we are creating that vent and we are marking 7. I'm going to work with 7 inches, right? Just like that. I'm having my 7, and yeah, having it straight like that. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I think I need to tape this thing so it stops moving. I think I need to tape it. I need to pin it, I mean, so that it doesn't move. Okay, you see it almost messed me up somewhere here. Just to confirm, I had 2 inches here. You see, it means it's somewhere here. Man, be careful. So this means I have to tape it, I have to pin it so that it stops moving, because that one I will end up having inaccurate measurements, and this will be so, dangerous. Now right there, let me confirm again. I had 2 inches, that's okay. I had 2 inches here too. Another problem. I had 2 inches here. I got it. That's 2 inches, that's okay. I had half an inch right here. There's a problem. Okay, so I had half an inch. That's fine. That's okay. Half an inch is here. That's okay. Back to what we were doing, guys. We are making that back vent, and I'm marking 7. My 7 is here. Okay, and so just want to yes, something like that. Okay, up to that point, just make a little curve. Just make a curve. Now we are working on the neckline. After shaping this part and after making that vent down there, we are now going to work on the neckline, back neckline, okay? Because this is the back piece we are working with right here. So what you are going to do, okay, we are now going to mark, we are going to create a neckline, and now I'm going to measure from here to this point. I'm going to have 2.8. So I'm marking 2.8 right here. I hope you see, guys, 2.8, that part. And then let's leave it at that point for now. Now let's get our measurements. This now serves as the shoulder, and the shoulder I'm working with is right here. I'm working with the shoulder of 8.5, right? So shoulder I'm working with is 8.5. Okay, so 8.5 minus the half an inch I took away at this point. Okay, now I'm going to mark it at 8. Mark 8 right here. Okay, and then we are now moving down here to the chest. Now this becomes our chest line. All right, so the chest I'm working with is 8 inches, and so 8 inches minus half an inch that I took away from this point, I'm going to have 7.5, right? I'm now going to have 7.5. Coming to the waist, the waist I'm working with is 9, all right? So 9 minus 2 inches from this other end, I'm going to have 7, okay? Now mark your 7 here, all right? Now after marking this here, okay, we now move down to the full length line, and the full length line, or how should I call it, the hip line, I don't know, but that full length line, what I'm working with is 10 inches. So 10 inches, okay, it was 40 divided by 4, we have 10. Now 10 inches minus 2, we have 8, okay? So come here, down here, okay, and mark that 8 inches, okay? And so what we are going to do next is to curve it right from on top. Sorry guys, sorry, my cutting table is quite small, so that I don't know if you can figure it out, but then curve it from up, from the shoulder line. Use your ruler, use your curve ruler to curve it. From the shoulder line, curve it nicely, okay? Come to the hip, okay? And then move straight down, okay? Just go straight. And then after curving it nicely, what we're going to do next is to cut it off. Now this is our curve. We've curved it, okay? So remember this point, we are now working on the neckline. So this is the point now where we want to curve the neck, right? So just curve it. It's just that simple. Curve it like that. I hope you can see what I'm doing. And then drop a shoulder line. Okay, we want to drop it. Now this is what we have. This is what we have here. Okay, so what we are going to do next is just to cut it all through. All right, I think I can move it so that you can see what's going on. Don't worry, it's not going to move away because I just pinned it. I've pinned it, so it's not going to move away. So now this is what we have. What we are now going to do is to cut it all through. This becomes the neck, like that, like this, okay, all through down. Now after everything is done, now this is what we have, okay, for the back side. Hope you can see this. All right, this is what we have for the back side. Remember, it's still on fold, okay? I've not cut this part, okay? I've not cut this part yet, but I'll do that. So Remember, it's still on fold, okay? So I've not yet cut this other part, but I will do that. You cut it this way, okay? So now we are going to start working on the front part. Yeah, now here is where there is work. When I say work, I mean work. So let's just get started. But it's simple though. Don't be scared, it's simple. Well, I know you can do this. You're way too smart. So guys, just have it like this, okay? First I'm going to have let's say a straight line. Let me just mark it 1 inch all through. Just mark it 1 inch all through. Yes, so I'm going to mark it 1 inch all through down here. Then a straight line. After marking it like that, come here, align it nicely. Just align it nicely on this line, okay? Just align it like that, okay? What we are now going to do, we are going now to extend these lines, right? Yeah. Just like that. Come here and just have a line there, like that. More like half an inch. This will help you during creating the pocket. Yeah. Get back your piece, your front piece, okay? And so remember your measurements. Remember the measurements you had right here. So at this point we had 8. Mark them so that you don't forget. Now 8 inches. We had 7 here. Inches, and we had 8. We had 8 inches here. Okay. After you're done with that part, remember you've marked the inches. So from this point, we are going to start our measurements at this line. So from this point, we are having, it was 8 inches, if I'm not wrong, it was 8. So our measurements will change now. So we are having 8, you see how your tape measure will appear now. Now this is where there is work. So we are having 8 inches. Make sure your 8 is on this line, all right? So we're having 8. 8 times 2 is 16, right? 16, okay? 16 plus the other half. Remember there is a half we took away from the back side, that a half, okay? Add the half seam allowance. Now we are landing at 17, all right? Come and mark your 17 inches here, okay? Now plus 4, okay? Plus 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are landing at 21. That's where we are now, okay? I hope up to that place we are good. Do the same to this other part. We had the 7 inches at the waist. Now we are having 7 here, okay? 7 times 2, we are having 14, right? 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus the 2 inches we took away from the back, right? You remember? We are now landing at 16. 16 plus another 4 inches. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. We are now landing at 20. We've landed at 20 inches. I hope guys you're following. Okay. So it's a bit tricky down here because we want to achieve that that nice curved shape. Okay, it's a bit tricky, but we have to do what we have to do. Okay, so let me just confirm so that I don't mess up again. It's 1 inch. I think the best way to do this is to make sure I pin the fabric so I don't mess everything up at the end of it. So I'm going to pin it like that just to secure it. Just pin it like that. Yeah, up to that point it's secured now. So we are coming here because we want to achieve that curve, that a nice curve on a blazer. What you're now going to do, measure half an inch. Remember this is the last line. Half an inch here, okay, like that. Come here also, measure half an inch like that, okay. So remember that other measurement was also 8 inches, okay. So we are going to have our 8 inches here. Start from this point. Sorry, need to have it like this. 8 times 2, 8 times 2 is 16, if I'm not wrong. 16 plus the 2 inches we took away, we are at 18. Okay, 18 plus 4, we are now at 22, plus seam allowance 22.5, we are here. Okay, you can see that it's complicated but not much. Mark the same down here, mark the same measurement down there. So let's curve this part. How do you curve this down part right here? What you're going to do, you're going to have it like this. Like that, can you see? Then come to this other part too. Oh, so you guys are not seeing. Okay, right. Remember I curved it at this half an inch, not the original line we had. Okay, this is the original line, this is the original line, but now I'm curving it at this point. Again, I'm going to curve this one down here. Something like that. Okay, so now that we are done with that part, right, we now want to create that button. We now want to create that button line, and we are going to measure it from this point to somewhere here, and I'm going to work with I'm working with let's say 9.5. Okay, mark your 9.5 here. All right, you see that? And then this was the waist, this was the waist line, right? So from this part to this part, have your 4.5 and come and mark it here. So this is where the other button should appear, this part, right? So once we are done with that part, we are now going to start working on the upper side, right? Yeah, before we start working on the upper side, okay, on the neckline, let's first have this straight line here at that lower button point. Just draw a straight line. This line will help us by the time we will be creating, you know, a pocket. Okay, now remember the shoulder measurement was 8.5. Mark your 8.5 here. Okay, and we are working with the neckline, right? That measurement of the back neckline was 4, so you're going to have your 4 here. All right, think up to this point you can follow. All right, so after measuring this 8.5, measure the same right here, 8.5 also, at 8.5. That's okay. So we are now working on the neckline. We are now creating a neckline, okay? All right, so slant it a bit like that, and then have your line, have your slanted line like that. Okay, so after measuring this slant line, remember what you measured here, it was 4 inches. Come and mark 4 at this straight line from here to somewhere here. So my 4 is here, 3.5, sorry, my 3.5 is here. Now that becomes the front neckline, right, where we will connect the lapel. I hope you understand. From this point to this point, we are marking 3.5. Mark the 3.5 right there. Okay, and so we are not done yet. After marking this one, this point here, draw a slanted line again. Before you draw a slant line, make sure you have a 2 inches from here. Make sure this slant line is 2 inches. Okay, so we are going to have 2 inches here. From here to here, that means my 2 inch will end here. I hope you are seeing. Now this is where my 2 inch is. I'm drawing it like that. Okay, so after that, draw a slanted line coming to this point. Okay, like that. I hope you can see what is going on. After that, curve it. Just curve it like this. All right, I've curved mine. Curving it, mark the point where you started curving it, because this is where our lapel will start. And then from that point, okay, from that point to where we have our 3.5, it was supposed to be 3.5, but it's not going to be 3.5 because we just started from this point right here. Okay, so it's like it's 3, so half of 3 is yeah, 1.5, right? So but I'm going to make it 2. This will depend on how you want your lapel to appear, right? So mine is going to be 2, just like that. Okay, if you want your lapel a bit wider or a bit narrower, that will depend. So I'm having that like that. So remember, I want my lapel to run like that, so I'm going to have it here. Okay, it's going to run straight to this point. So my break point is somewhere around the waistline. You cannot see it, but you okay, so it's something like that. And then now let's give it a shape, right? So I'm going to give mine a shape to this point. Okay, it depends, this will depend with the shape you want for your blazer. So for me, I'm going to go with this shape right here. I'm going to go with this shape right here. Okay, that's my lapel. Now after successfully managed to create my lapel, we are now going to shape this blazer. You know, that kind of shape that appears here, right? So we are going to work on that right now. And what we are going to do, from this point to this point, mark 3 inches. I'm going to have my 3 inches here. Okay, and I mark it like that. So after marking it like that, it's very simple. Just have your curve ruler, and then you are going to curve it to this point, right? So just like that, curve it nicely. You're just going to curve it like that. All right. Just curve it nicely. Yes. Just curve it nicely, something like that. Okay. Now you have that nice curve. Okay. Back to the upper. From this line we marked here, you remember this line here, we left it pending, and so we are going to remember it was 8.5. okay, and this one also was 8.5. What we are going to do is to join a straight line here connecting the 2 points. Okay, so just join the point like that. Right, after joining the points like that, now we are going to start creating our pocket. Okay, so now from this point measure 1.5 inch and mark it here. That's 1.5, right? So come and mark from 1.5 point, mark 4 inches, and then find a half of 4 is 2, mark it here. All right, just like that. So what you are going to do next, we are going to extend these lines, extend this line here, and also extend this upper one here. And now mark your half an inch, just cross it like that, and come and cross this other point. Like that. Already we have that pocket up here. So what we are now going to do to extend this line, because we are looking for the dart, so we are going to extend this line straight. Make sure it's straight, okay, and just extend it down here. So once you have it here, we are now going to start creating that welt pocket. To create a welt pocket, we are going to start from this point, and we are going to measure half an inch from this line. Just have half an inch somewhere here. Okay, like that. Okay, and then from this point, let's extend this line so that you get to see it nicely. Okay, so now from this point, let's make it to 6 inches. Okay, let's have a 6 inches. Then from here to here you can have it as wide or as broad as you like, but I'm going to work with 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to work with 2 inches from here to here. Okay, and again another 2 inches from here to here. Then join the 2 points like that. Okay, and then join it up here. Do the same to the other side, just like that. And so you can decide on the style you want. So I'll make it a bit curve. Yes, something like that. That's how I want my pocket to look like. All right. Now get back your piece. You remember this front piece? Back piece, I mean. This was the back piece, back side. Remember this piece? Have it here. Because we now want to create the shoulder. Okay. Maybe you're not seeing it. All right. So have this your piece. What you are going to do, you are going to get the measurement from this point. You are going to get the measurement from this point to this point right here. And my measurement from that point to this other side is say 7. It's 7. So we are going to transfer that 7. Sorry about that. You will mark from this point. Slant it nicely to where you have your 7. Okay, so my 7 is here. Now that our 7 is here, just have your curve and try to curve it nicely. And we are having something like this for this part. So what we are going to do from that point is to drop this line. All right, we are going to drop it like this, come right here, curve it up to here, because now we are creating that that way. Curve it like that. So we are going to start dropping it. I'll just be marking it like that. Like that. I hope you can see that. Okay. Up to that point, I hope we are clear. All right. So we are now going to measure from this point of where your pocket ended. Go up with the, we are going up with 3 inches. Go up with 3 and mark your 3 here. Okay. And from this end to this end, right, to this point, this line, this straight line we had here, I'm having a, my measurement is 10.2. So come and transfer the same measurement down here. Transfer the same measurement on this line down here. So we had 10.2. So I'm going to mark my 10.2 and it ends somewhere here, okay, like that. So what we are now going to do, you've marked your, now come down to this line and transfer the same measurement you had up here, which was 10.2. So start from this point and have your 10.2 here, and your 10.2 will end somewhere here, okay. So what we are going to do is to join this point. Remember the 10.2 you measured here and this 10.2, join the points, create a straight line to join these points. Yes, once you have it like this, you remember this point you had here, okay. So you are going just to create that point, have your ruler at this point, make sure it's straight, okay, and also have this line right here. I hope you can see up to that point. Up to that point, I hope we are together. So the next thing we are going to do here is to create our dots. We are going to create dots on this line, okay, on this line up here, right? How do we create our dots? It's very simple. We're just going to do this. First of all, create a half an inch from this point to this point, because we will need this dot right here. Create one here, okay? So let's have one here like this. After creating this part, so we are now creating another dot at this point, and what we are going to do is just to make it look nice. All right. We're just somehow going to curve our dots, not quite deep, right? So let's have something like that, and have another one on this side. Okay, here you have to be very careful, because if it's so deep it will be tight, because you are going to cut off these dots right here. So now this is how my dots look like. Yes, so we are done with the dots. What we are going to do next is now just to curve this part, right? We're just going to curve this part. This is what we have after curving it. So we are going to give it a seam allowance of 1 inch at least. If it gets tight, you can see, you can remove, you can expand it a bit. So 1 inch to make it loose, 1 inch there, another 1 inch down here. Do the same, curve it, curve it again nicely. Okay, let's just curve it like that. So just like that, we are done with the front part. So what we are going to do now is to cut it all through. After cutting it, cut the lining, cut the gum material. There is a lot of cuttings to be done, okay? So how you are going to cut it is this end, okay? But don't cut on the line because we need a sewing allowance. So seam allowance, we will at least give it an allowance. Cut all through like this. Go up, 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 just like that to the neck. Still giving it a seam allowance to the shoulder. Drop down to the shoulder to the armhole, right? And then come before halfway the armhole. Let me show you this part because this part is a bit tricky. Now getting to this point, come this way, all right? Come this way. When you get to this point, all right, cut this way, all right? Cut to this line, come here, move, all right? When you get here, you will move. You will form something like a V shape, right? Then you come to this line, then cut it all through. So it means we will have this piece and we will have the next piece. So how do you cut this other next piece? Okay, you remember we cut this piece, so this other piece is remaining this side, right? So again, come to this point, yeah, you will curve it this way, you will cut it all this way, all through to this straight line, all through down, right? Then move to this point, cut it like that, okay? Come straight to this line, all right? Move to this part, okay? Cut it all through to that far end, all right? And then remember, cut your lining. Use this piece to cut your lining. Cut the gum canvas. Cut everything cuttable. Okay, and let's see how many pieces we have. It's going to be a quite number of pieces, but we have to do what we have to do. So let's see what we have.